Am I the asshole for ruining Thanksgiving? I, 30 female, met my boyfriend, 30 male, 3 years ago. Before me, he was together with his high school sweetheart. They fell out of love and they broke up. A year later, we started dating. His mom, however, was still heartbroken about it. I was very understanding and thought she needed time to get to know me. The ex basically grew up with them and they saw her as part of the family. For the first year of my relationship, his mom would call me his ex's name until my boyfriend got angry once and told her to be nice. She laughed it off and said it was just a habit. After that, she started calling me the wrong name, Janet instead of Jenny. Fictional names just for the story. I corrected her a couple of times, but she seemed to like hurting me, so I ignored it later. My boyfriend has 2 sisters, and a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, we were invited to barbecue at the older sister's house. I was in the kitchen with my boyfriend's mom, the sisters, and one of their husbands. The older sister then talked about how my boyfriend praised my cooking to her husband, and the mom was listening. She then said it out loud. "Sure, why don't we let Janet make the turkey this year?" The sisters giggled and looked at each other, and I said, "That's a great idea." I didn't tell my boyfriend what happened. On Thanksgiving, we went to his mom's house with the usual wine and dessert. I didn't bring a turkey because she told Janet to bring the turkey, and my name's not Janet. She was shocked. Everybody was shocked. I said, "What? I thought Janet is bringing the turkey." There was yelling, crying, and then we ended up getting kicked out. My boyfriend is so angry with me. He hasn't talked to me since. I think it's over, to be honest, but I still don't think I did anything wrong. Am I the asshole? The top comment coming in with 26,000 upvotes. Thunderous applause. You're my favorite asshole for this. My absolute hero. Edit. I'm being asked to give judgment. I repeat, OP is my favorite asshole, not the asshole here. So my vote, not the asshole. Second comment coming in with 10,000 upvotes. We have got to have some kind of flair for quote unquote hero asshole. This is the kind of malicious compliance I live for. Was it petty? Sure. Not anywhere near as petty as referring to someone by the wrong name for 3 years. Not the asshole as far as I'm concerned. And my vote. I'm going to say this girl is not the asshole. This is the juicy stories that I live for. If I was in that situation, I would have done the same thing. I mean, yeah, it was petty, whatever. Maybe she ruined Thanksgiving, whatever. But she has been getting called the wrong name for 3 years. I don't know if I would do anything differently. So my vote, this girl is not the asshole. And I think Reddit does need a justified asshole button or subreddit or somewhere where you can find these types of juicy posts. So let me know what you guys think. Am I the asshole for breaking my promise to my husband and letting others meet our newborn baby before him? I, 25 female, moved away from my hometown and to my husband's male 32 hometown after we got married. The main reason is because he suffers from a medical chronic condition and needs to be near his family. I was pregnant with our first baby and was nearing my due date when my husband had to travel out of town for work for 2 weeks. Because of this, he couldn't be with me in the delivery room, which wasn't expected. I wanted to ask Mom to come be with me, but he assured me that his family are there to help and I shouldn't be worried. He then made me promise that I don't let anyone see our son for the first time in person before him, besides his stepmom, who was supposed to be there for me, and I agreed. His stepmom was with me when I went into labor, but she stayed away since. She is the type that doesn't get too involved and keeps her distance. She's also the quote-unquote I don't do diapers type, meaning she doesn't offer help with the baby, and I shouldn't be expecting it. She dropped me and my son off at home and asked that I only call if there's an emergency. I felt helpless. I asked my neighbor for a few favors, but needed real help with the baby, so I called my mom. She knew I had just given birth and asked if she could come help me, and she drove 4 hours to come stay with me. She helped out tremendously, and I am so grateful for that. My husband stayed away for a few more days, then came home. Once he saw my mom, he got so upset, repeatedly saying I broke the promise that I made him by not letting others meet our son before him. And I explained that I needed help, and he brought up his stepmom, but I replied that she dropped me off and left, and that's it. Besides, he and mom are on good terms. I didn't get why he was mad. She met her grandbaby, which was inevitable. He said it wasn't about mom since it could have been anybody else, but it was about me disrespecting his wishes and breaking the promise I made. He reminded me that he's also the parent and he gets a say too. At this point, I said he was overreacting, but he replied that I forever tainted the memory of his son's birth and broke his trust and proved to him that my word, quote unquote, is worth shit. Now, mom tried to give us space, but I said she did nothing wrong. She came to help after his stepmom left, so I can't be blamed for asking for help. He told me to stop giving him excuses and admit I wronged him with what I did, and then started avoiding me and just kept focusing his attention on our son. He keeps acting cold towards me, calling me a selfish promise breaker and expecting me to make it up to him. He wanted an apology, but I haven't given that yet. Am I the asshole? Edit to add, we did talk to each other on the phone several times, and he already knew that his stepmom refused to stay with me and told me to just call him if something happens. But I didn't tell him about me calling my mom, knowing how he'd react, and decided to wait till he got home so we could talk about it. So am I the asshole for this? And the top comment coming in with 31,000 votes. Not the asshole. He prevented you from organizing help for yourself. He didn't come home after the birth. My significant other would be single, and I mean that. Next comment coming in with 8,000 upvotes. Yeah, I would, OP, need to get rid of the ultimate a-hole. OP just had her baby and he is out of town. His stepmother left her alone. And can someone guess how hard it is for her? She has every right to call her mother. And I think her husband is so selfish too. OP, you're not the asshole. Next comment coming in with 5,000 upvotes. I honestly think everybody calling her the asshole for breaking her promise doesn't have kids, not even to think birth one. Besides an extreme lack of empathy, there is no explanation for me. Next comment, 3,000 upvotes. Yeah, he is so pathetic. His intentions are pure selfishness. OP needs to move in with her mother. He and his stepmother are terrible. How can they treat a woman who has a newborn like this? Another comment, 5,000 upvotes. Seriously, he was making it all about him. She was the one pushing a human being out of her body. She needed support and help. And instead of doing everything he could to make sure she was supported when he couldn't be there, he cut her off from all support and dictated what she could and couldn't do. It doesn't even sound like she's close to his stepmom. How cruel is it to leave his laboring wife with someone you chose for her and not who she wants? His selfishness is way next level. Next comment, 2,000 upvotes. Oh, this is definitely abuse. I've hardly ever been as angry to read a post here. I do not have children, nor do I plan on having them. But if it was me in the stepmom's place, I would have gotten over all of my prissiness and helped her with everything she needed, because she is as vulnerable as a person can get. And just dumping her and telling her not to call unless something really bad happens is simply cruel. How could his stepmom sleep at night? And the husband, holy moly, entirely ditched her, is letting his stepmom her side and demanded that he sees his new toy first. Why can't it be her mom? Because her mom actually helped, which makes it less convenient to put his wife in horrible situations so she gets accustomed to his violence, effectively slowing the re-education process. And my vote, this girl is absolutely not the asshole. How is that husband going away for a work trip when he has a child that is about to be born? What? That part makes absolutely no sense to me. If I was a dude working, even if it was an important work trip, like, there is nothing more important than your child being born. What? That is just so mind-boggling. My vote, not the